The governor here in California is making a mandate for ADUs, that you could take your regular single family home and turn it into a junior ADU, which is adding an extension to the back of your house with a separate interest, or you can subdivide your land and put units there, or you can turn your garage into an ADU, or you can build on top of your garage. So now you can go from a single family home to a fourplex.
All right, guys, this is Kelly from Heels, Deals, and Wheels Mobile Home Investing Course, and we got a very special guest today, Mr. Thomas F. Chappell Jr. And Thomas, I see you got your phone number there,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
they could contact you. Now, me and Thomas, let me tell you something, a little story about me and Thomas. We never met, but we took a course a couple of years ago concerning mobile home, not just mobile home, but note creating notes. Correct? I
Correct.
was there for the mobile home part. Were you there also for the mobile home part, creating notes on mobile homes, or you were just creating notes, period?
Actually, I was
Actually, I
just
was just
there to support because I know Andy Teasley very well. So I was just pretty much there to support and just always take a refresher course, even though I wasn't doing the things that he was doing, but that's where it was. So I just love going to his course.
right. He has an amazing course, amazing. So, and I actually called in. I was supposed to work that weekend, and I actually called in the entire weekend so I could do the course because the course was like 8 hours for 2 days. And it was it 2 or 3 days? It was two
Two
days.
days.
Two
The,
days, two
the, the
days.
first day is all about the financial calculator and how to utilize and understand what the financial calculator does for you. Because a lot of people don't understand, no matter what you finance, you can always use your financial calculator. So if you was to go buy a car, if you use your financial calculator, you would understand what your car payments would be before you got to the dealership. Same thing of
Exactly.
buying a house or whatever you finance, you can know what your payments are going to be before you go ahead and do it. And you'll know what your interest and your yield would be and all that before you actually go do it.
Right, right. So Thomas, introduce yourself to everybody who don't know you because you got a radio show, you have many hats. So tell us all about Mr. Thomas here.
Basically, like you said, my name is Thomas F. Chappell Jr. I'm here in Riverside, California. For those who might not know, they call it the IE or the Inland Empire. I'm like 50 miles outside of Los Angeles. Um, been in a real estate space for a decade and started off just like most people, not knowing the lingo and understanding how this works. Wasn't actually working at the time, and I wanted to um, find a new career versus just working in corporate America and stuff like that. So I got in and got up under mentors, and took me a couple of years before I got my first deal. My first deal was a wholesale deal, and the guy kept telling me, "Oh man, every time he saw me, you're gonna get 5 grand. You're gonna get 5 grand. Oh, I'm so stoked you're going 5 grand." But when the dust settled, I got $2,500. Now, most people would have been upset, and I was a little peeved, because you kept telling me I'm getting 5 grand, and I didn't get the 5 grand. So I said to myself, "This is not going to be the last time I'm going to see that kind of money," and I just kept on persevering, and bingo, bango, boom, here I am. So now I am a cash buyer, which I buy properties to resell. Um, I wholesale, and wholesaling and flipping is the same thing. The only difference between the two is that you get your money faster on the buy side versus the resale side. Also, sometimes I keep property as rentals. Um, Secondly, I'm a lender. I lend money out throughout the United States for new development, new construction, apartment complexes, long, short-term rentals, as well as fix and flips. Thirdly, I'm a mentor slash motivational speaker. I love talking real estate all day, every day. I like to motivate people to change their minds on not mindset, but change their minds on the way they structure things, because it's a difference between how you structure it to either make or break. what you're doing, because just about everything you do is pretty much the same. It's just everybody has different procedures of how they structure it. Yours are different from somebody else's, and just depends on how you structure it. It can either survive or it can die. Fourthly, I have a real estate investment club. It's called Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. The purpose of it being black, because I'm a black guy who hosts a club, and on top of that, I love controversy. And but everyone's welcome. The club was created to give minorities a platform to showcase their talent, to work with people that look like them, walk like them, and talk like them. Because most of your clubs that you might go to, and no offense, is white, and there's nothing wrong with those, but a lot of people feel like they're out of place, they don't have the right criteria, so they never come back. They come, they'll leave, or they'll come get what they need, and they get out there and screw up, and then they come back and things like that. So that was the purpose of the club being created, to give you that platform to feel like you're at home and you're welcome. It's every third Wednesday of the month. Right now, I'm on Zoom. So I just had my meeting yesterday, and I bring a lot of content to the club. I have for the first hour is networking, and the second hour to is from 7 to 9 o'clock Pacific, or it'd be from 10 to 12 Eastern. Um, it's a guest speaker. They do their presentation, and then they do Q&As, and then after that's over, then what we do is what we call the after meeting. After meeting, we ask people, what did they get out of the presentation? How are they going to use it in their day-to-day life? And then I ask them if they're having any issues on structuring deals, or what are they looking for as far as inventory and things like that. Uh, and then fifth, I have a real estate radio show. It is live radio, it's not a podcast. So I have people that can come to the actual station, or I can have people do virtual. It's every fourth Wednesday of the month. So for people on the east, it starts at 4. People on the west, it starts at 1. It's only for an hour. Talk real estate all day, every day. My show is basically to encourage people to get off the couch and change their lives. That's what I'm all about, is serving and having people to want to do whatever it is. It doesn't have to be real estate, but whatever you're interested in, I want to be able to be some kind of an asset to you versus a liability. And now I'm embarking on doing a uh, real estate television show. Uh, something
Okay.
new.
You doing it all, Thomas. You doing it all.
It's like this. It's not like I'm out looking for this stuff, but it's an opportunity to bring more content and brand myself, because I ask people, what's the best way to market themselves? What's the best way you think is to market yourself?
Social media.
But if I
Social
told you
media.
you was wrong, would you believe me?
I would like to hear what your answer would be.
It's old school. It's 2 ways to market yourself. The first 2 ways is radio and television. Now, people hear that and like, oh, that costs a lot of money. But no, it don't. You'd be very, very surprised. And the reason why I say that, because you have 99.9% of people are sitting either in front of their television, or they're driving in their cars, listening to commercials. We just had the Super Bowl last month, and corporations spent a lot of money on these commercials to get you to buy their product. That's the best way. Second way is to become on the bestseller list, writing a book. You know what I'm saying? I just wrote a book, and I'm about to write 3 more, and I can't write worth a damn. I'm dyslexic, and I'm not good at putting stuff on paper. But how I end up writing my first book, um, the church pissed me off. That's how I ended up writing my book. And I never had an intention, because I know I'm not a good writer. I know I'm not a good reader, and the biggest thing people don't know is that I didn't finish high school. I went to college. I didn't finish college. I'm dyslexic. Um, I was very ashamed. I was an athlete, and I chased a lot of women, So no, I went and got an 8 to 5, because I knew all these things, and I did not have, and I felt ashamed, because society says, well, you need to go to school, you need to get your high school diploma. That's why they gave you GED for those who don't finish high school. And the educational system is so screwed up. If you ever got an opportunity to either read or listen to Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It would explain to you why I say the things that I say. I knew this before the book came out, but it really goes into depth because he didn't know. A lot of people don't understand why is he saying that in his book. And I tell people, I say, look at it from this perspective. What's the highest degree can you receive?
Doctorate.
Great. Is there any other degree after that?
Not that I know of.
Exactly.
No.
So which that tells you, you capped out. You cannot make any more money higher than what that degree will allow you to make. But if you have a system set up and multiple income streams, there's no cap. So you can make as much money as you want. But going through the steps. So in other words, yes, he went and got his education, and he's got the highest degree. But if you don't do anything beyond that, then you're dead, because you're programmed to go get a job and get a good and all this other stuff. But it's harder to get out on your own, as most people would think, and to start a business. And it's very, very easy. But you have to have systems in place. And not only that, you have to be able to do multiple income streams. So it allows me to brand myself with doing this television show besides the radio and the investment club, because now people will see the content that I'm bringing, that they can believe that they can become better than what they are. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it took me a while to get here. I didn't start doing this until my late 40s, And one of the reasons why, and I'm going to say one of the reasons, main reason why I did is because I got an opportunity to raise my own child. I was a single dad. And I didn't want my son to be a statistic. I didn't want him to turn out to be like me. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's what gave me the ability to want to change my life, because I wanted to have him see a different side of me than what I used to be, because I didn't want that. So yeah, it might seem like I'm doing a lot, but honestly, I'm not. I'm doing what God allows me to do, because truly I never believed in myself. I never thought that I could do things because of what I was told. I was, like I said, you don't have the certain criterias, you feel like you left out. My thing was, me being an athlete was my inspiration of getting out the ghetto, but that's not true. It's not. It's what God puts in you that would allow you to go ahead and become way better, than what you are. I tell people, you've been given a personal invitation by Jesus Christ himself to sit at a never-ending table to feast. But what happens is, when people sit at that table, they look across and on the sides, and people don't look like them. And then it's like, you feel like you don't belong. So you get up and walk away from the table. But if you stayed at that table, you'll realize there's nothing wrong with you, because this is where God sent his help to. And a lot of people don't believe that, because they don't want to, if somebody corrects you or say that that's not true because they have their own opinion, then you get offended. It's just like you and I having a conversation. I keep using the word you in a you sense, but then you'll take offense to certain things I'm saying because I keep saying you. But like I tell them, if I'm not using your name, then I'm not speaking to you directly. I'm just speaking in a you sense. But if I sit and use your name, that means that I'm actually talking to you personally. And that's the list. That's the part we don't listen. We don't listen to the conversation to understand how to respond in a better way, instead of taking a lot of things negatively. So when it comes down to it, you can do whatever you want to do. You have that capability of doing it, and you'll be surprised of how many people would want to invest into you because they get a bigger return on their investment versus going through the banking system. We already know what's going on in Simi Valley. What is it, Simi Valley or Silicon Valley? We know what's going on, and a lot of people are running scared now. They don't know what to do or what to believe. So it's like, where are you in your life? Where do you see yourself? And you're putting on these platforms for people to be encouraged to say, hey, do it. I like Nike's slogan. Nike's got the best slogan in the world. Just do it. What do you have to lose? Nothing.
So Thomas, let's rewind a little bit. You were talking about the wholesale deals and how somebody promised you're gonna get $5,000 a pop after each deal, and you got 2,500. You were kind of a little bummed, but you realize though, Thomas, I mean, $2,500 for wholesaling a deal you didn't own. Was it a mobile home or are you talking about a single family home?
It was a single family, and the reason why I said that is because uh, if it was if he had never told me that I was going to get anything, I would still been excited because it was my first deal. I accomplished something that I've never done before. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? But because he told me that, then I was expecting to get the 5 grand. But I said to the point, regardless, this is not the last time. I could have turned around, took my money, and it ran back to my 8 to 5. But I walked away from that because I didn't want to go back there anymore. You know what I'm saying? And this is
mm,
in my late 40s. Now I'll be 57 at the end of this month. And for me to go back into corporate America, I'm washed up. They don't want
okay.
me. You know, my body's breaking down. You know, the knees are bad. You know, the back is bad. You know, my eyes is bad now. I don't react the way I used to. So, no, I can't go back to corporate America. I'm not going to get paid the money I was getting paid when I was younger. So,
Right.
they would consider me as a has been, but I had to reinvent myself. And it wasn't just me reinventing myself for myself, it was also reinventing myself for my son to become to supersede what I've done. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Not go down the same footsteps, go to school, get you a job, and then complain, complain, complain until you die.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I've done more now in this lifetime than I did when I was younger.
Hmm. Hmm. So Thomas, so you did the single family home, you're in the mobile homes, and now you're doing ADUs.
Yes.
Okay. So
ADU is going to be the new thing.
okay, and so first of all, tell everybody what an ADU is, because I only found out about an ADU because I'm on occasion in California. Explain to everybody what an ADU is.
It is what they used to call a granny flat or a mother-in-law quarters. It's an extra unit in the back. They call it an accessory dwelling unit. And basically, you can utilize it for whatever you want to utilize it for now. The governor here in California is making a mandate for ADUs that you could take your regular single family home and turn it into a junior ADU, which is adding an extension to the back of your house with a separate interest, or you can subdivide your land and put units there, or you can turn your garage into an ADU, or you can build on top of your garage. So now you can go from a single family home to a fourplex. Anything past 4 is considered commercial. Anything under 4 is considered residential. So you can go as high up to 4 on that. So that way you can turn around and rent out those extra units, or if not rent them out, give them to family members or your children that don't want to leave home, that you want to get out the house, so you can have your house to yourself. You can do that. So that's what they are. They're going to be the new way of living now, because a lot of people, especially the baby bloomers, have their homes and they've been living in their homes for years and they old, they outdated, and the way the market is, they can't sell them, so they have to keep them. And not only that, their children are coming back with children. So
Mm.
this is why the ADU is becoming a phenomenon. Before they were called ADUs, everybody looked at them as tiny homes and they couldn't understand them. So now they switched them to ADUs and whatnot. And the beauty thing about the ADUs that I'm doing, they're on wheels, you know. So
Oh, okay.
so
Hmm.
now what you can do is that what I'm going through to all the cities in the Inland Empire, speaking to the mayors and a lot of the city officials, saying, "Hey, give me the land that's already entitled with the utilities on, and I will sit here and create this community, which will help with affordable housing because the housing market is so oversaturated. It's so much, and I mean, it's high that a lot of people can't afford housing, you know, and there should not be any shortage of housing, but people don't understand it was never government's position to create jobs or create housing. And the citizens are continue to keep forcing them to do something that they're not equipped to do. So when they have these city addresses and these town hall meetings, they're looking for the citizens of that city for somebody in there to take the baton and run with it. And that's what a
Mhm.
lot of people are not doing. So there's a struggle between the powers that be and the people that live in that city in order to for that to thrive. So what I'm bringing to the table is that give me the land that's entitled with the utilities on. I bring these units and then it creates affordable housing. And the best part about it is that if you wanted to sell your unit, all you would need to do is hook it up to your heavy duty SUV or heavy duty pickup and drive that puppy anywhere you want. The other thing about these units, you can either leave it on the trailer or you can take it off and put it permanently on the foundation. So you got two ways of doing it. So that's the big thing that I'm offering, you know, because um, everyone don't understand it. That's why everybody's eyes is on the state of California because the governor put this mandate out for ADUs.
Okay. And you know what, Thomas, I got a sad story to tell. Actually, I was in the process of moving from one apartment to the next here in California, because they were going up on the rent something crazy. And so I moved my stuff to storage, and they had this long piece of paper that I had to sign saying that I would not live in the storage unit. I would not physically live in the storage unit. I'm like, man, California is really getting crazy. It really
Well,
is.
and because they because the fact is that they really truly not sure what to do. And like I said, why everybody's eyes is on California because the governor put the mandate out because one of the biggest reasons is that he put his name in the hat for 2024 to become president. So
Hmm.
in order for my constituents to vote for me to win the presidency, I got to give them something to vote for. You see what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
And
right.
so he gave you SB9 to where you could subdivide your property to add these units, but he's also doing SB10 where you can take a dilapidated commercial building or an abandoned commercial building, tear it down and put units on it. Because with the pandemic that kicked in, um, a lot of a lot of companies are leaving commercial buildings because now with Zoom become the big thing, everybody's working remotely from home. So you really don't need to have a building. You know, you don't really need to pay for travel. You don't have to pay for uh, holidays and birthdays and whatever else that you want to do if the employee's not there all the time. So it's less cost effective and it helps with productivity. You know, the only thing you need a building for is to manufacture. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So the beauty about these units is that I'm a part owner in the company. They're here based out of Riverside, California. I invested into the company. So one of the things I'm doing is protecting my investment and make sure that the company makes money so I can make money. So why not take these units and present them to the cities and say, hey, look, if we can come together, work cohesiveness, and be able to build these units, we can give people affordable housing where you won't have a lot of homeless situations. We did that at a college in El Centro, California, and we built a community. They saw the units at a fairground in Del Mar, California. The dean of the school liked the idea. They already had a grant to create housing because they had students that couldn't afford campus housing or couldn't afford off-campus housing, and they wanted to go to school, and they didn't want to discourage them not to go to school. So that's how that came. So we have um, we have created that community. So, and it became a big thing, and everybody's interested in them. So now you got different companies, different corporations are creating these prefab units. They some of them started off taking these canisters that you ship, put on these ships for containers and turn them into housing. They did that in LA. They took those containers and put them on the parking structure of Venice Beach, California. And no, is it Venice Beach or Santa Monica? I can't remember. And the only thing is that they don't have their own facility as far as using the restroom. They got to go outside to a porta potty to use the restroom. So
Wow.
that's sad. But
Right.
these units come fully equipped. They come with a full bathroom, a full kitchen, comes with a range, a refrigerator, microwave. It comes with a washer and dryer. It comes with a lot,
Mhm.
and all the amenities there. You can set it up the way you want. You can don't have to. You can buy your own, or you can buy the shell. And the best thing about those, you can just buy the shell and you can turn them into salons, barbershops. You can turn them into convenience stores. You can turn them into anything. You
Mhm.
can make an actual plaza out of these units. That's the beauty about it.
Mhm.
You know,
And Thomas, you say some of them come on wheels, but can some of them also be permanent? Where
they
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 fix
come
it.
on wheels, but you can permanently put them on your foundation. And then
Okay.
whenever you get ready to move it, you just put it back on the wheels and just move it off.
Okay.
So you don't need an 18 wheeler, but if you wanted to get one for your property, uh, but you don't have access to an alleyway or a backyard, then you would have to get a crane to take it and lift it over your house and then put it in your backyard.
Right. And that should be no big deal. That doesn't seem like that's too expensive to have something like that done.
No, there's
Hmm.
not. You
Hmm.
know,
And so let's say, Thomas, somebody has a property and I wanted to invest in an ADU. Am I able to purchase the ADU, put it on their land, and then possibly give them some money at the same time getting money from the tenant who's living in the ADU? Is that a possibility?
oh, of course, it's not. It is a possibility. Of course, you can do that because what
Okay.
you're doing is that you're helping the homeowner add value. One of the reasons why it was an issue and why the governor made a mandate because local government don't know how to value it because
Mhm.
it's sitting on wheels unless it's a stick built that is permanently on the foundation where you can say, I know this is not going to be moving. I can add more value to this property. So you're adding value to a homeowner that would want to do it, wants to do it, but don't have the financing to do it. So you're asking them, hey, I can turn around and benefit by giving you the money to put in the unit here, and then we split the proceeds from that deal. Yes, you
That's
can
a,
do that.
that's
Absolutely.
wow, that's amazing. And the reason why I say that's amazing is because I mean, even a one bedroom out here in California could be I mean in upwards of maybe $1,500. Wouldn't you say, Thomas? Depending on the area, or even
Yeah, depending on the area, you could go.
even a studio.
Yeah, you can go. Depending on the area, can go anywhere between 15 to $3,000. Period.
Wow, so that's an amazing idea. So Thomas, you're no longer in the mobile home business. Now you're in the ADU business totally, or are you still doing mobile homes?
I still in a sense, but I'm totally sold into the ADUs. Why? Because the biggest reason is that everybody off the boat. I don't care who you are, if you seasoned or non-seasoned, everybody's doing it. It's oversaturated. And so everybody's clamming, on everybody's backs looking to get a deal. And I don't want to have to scrape and scratch and crawl and all that to get a deal. And then on top of that, everything is so overpriced here in California.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it harder to find a deal. So what I'm looking at is adding value. I'm not looking at just the dollar amount. I'm adding value. I don't want the shine. I'm going to the cities and saying, hey, you guys are saying you guys have issues with affordable housing. I have a solution. So, in other words, we all are here for each other. We all are brother keeper. And I ask people, I said, what do you actually pray for? And I pray for this. I said, what you're really praying for is a solution to a problem. I said, but the biggest problem is that you're not solving your own problem. You're looking for somebody else to solve it. We are problem solvers. When you talk about becoming an investor or whatever you're doing, you're here to help people solve problems, whether they want your advice or not, whether they want to work with you or not. You are a problem solver. So what I'm doing is going to your local cities in the Inland Empire and saying, hey, I'm here to help solve your problem. How do you want me to serve? And by me end up volunteering to either getting on a planning committee or whatever to help solve those problems, I am willing to do that. I don't want to shine. I want the city to get that shine, the mayor to get that, whoever get the shine. I'm just a guy in the background because I know what I've done and I know what I brought to the table. So I don't need the accolades and I don't need the praises because I'm not doing it for that. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
right. And so Thomas, and I might be incorrect. Haven't I seen some of these ADUs underneath some of these bridges underneath, off the highway ramps? I've seen like housing, especially in Oakland. Haven't you seen those housing?
I have not, but I can tell you this right now. Everybody's to take certain things and turn them into ADUs or tiny homes or whatever you want to call it. I went to a couple of the tiny home fest fairs that they have across the Inland Empire, and I've seen two black couples. One black couple, male and female. They took the UPS trucks, not
Right,
the UPS trucks. They took the Amazon trucks,
right. And
and
I've seen that on YouTube.
they
Yeah.
turned that into a tiny home for themselves. Now it's kind of amazing because they got two big old dogs and them
Uh,
living in this small compartment, and they making it work for him. The guy, he's a internet trainer, and his wife is going to school. I forgot what she was going to school for. So, and they just drive around the country doing this. And then I met another young lady. She lives out of the same type of unit, and she just travels the world. And she used either she works or she's a marketing person, does design stuff and stuff like that. So she does it out of her unit, or she goes to one of those corporate places where you can rent out the conference room and rent out an office space and stuff like that.
mm,
I'm
mm,
like, people are turning anything. I seen one woman, she turned a black woman out of Arizona. She took the portable horse trailers where you put two horses in the trailer
right.
and transport them. She
Mm,
took that and turned that into a tiny home. So I'm like, people are
wow.
being very, very creative with this stuff. I mean, it's tremendous how they do it.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So let's talk about the cost of ADU because right now you got me excited. I'm serious, Thomas. I'm thinking I can go out there and invest in somebody's backyard and put an ADU out there and then split the cost with the person that, owns the house. So what is the cost, the average cost of an ADU?
Well, it depends on the type that you're looking at. So they have now what they're doing is they're putting government programs together to be able to assist homeowners or people like yourself that want to do it and helping the homeowner get an ADU in their backyard. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They have those kind of programs right now. So um, these are the units that I'm talking about. They're HUD and FHA is certified. So you
Wow.
could go FHA with the units, and they also HUD certified. So that tells you a lot right there.
Okay. And so I'm sure they're going to be getting to the point, if they haven't already, where they're going to accept Section 8. Correct.
Yeah, they haven't gotten to that part yet because it's still fairly new. And like I
Hmm.
said, this is something that the governor put a mandate out. So you're talking about local government is figuring out how to best make this work. Because basically, really, what it's all about is which department is going to get which money. So everybody has to get some form of money. So where are we going to divvy this money at? So like right now in the city of Hemet, I'm in the process of building an RV park. I had a couple of partners of ours. They bought a old golf course in the city of Hemet, and they want to make it a wildlife preservative because one of the partners is a trainer. So you have four live tigers that live on this property. They don't roam the whole property because it's
Mm.
160 acres. They have their little section where they are, and one of the attractions is that you can have dinner with the tigers and you can watch them interact and things like that. You're not going to be dinner, but you can watch.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You might be dinner for the time.
But no, it's cool. I've watched them. So the county of Riverside wants us to reopen the golf course, which I'm for it because not only does it brings revenue, but it also brings attraction to the attraction of the dinner with the Tigers. Then the other partner is a wedding coordinator. So now, if you want it, you can have your wedding there, and the Tigers can be a part of the wedding. The biggest reason is because in 2027, 2028 is that California is going to have the Olympics. And so a lot of the aquatic events are going to be out in that area. So we're going to be putting housing there to where you can either rent or you can turn around and own it and rent it out, or you can live there. So we're going to build an RV park so you can park your RVs and living all year round. You can park your RVs, there. You can rent it out. You can live in it. One thing you could do is that you can buy an ADU and then you can move it to that property and we will rent it out for you. We'll manage it the whole 9 yards. Or we're going to put some units on there and then we're going to do the same, rent them out, manage the whole 9 yards. And the last thing we're going to put on there is glamping tents. Glamping tents is something I've never heard of, but it is very phenomenal right now. I mean, I don't know who started
What
it.
is that time? What is that, Thomas? I'm not familiar with that. What is that?
There's a website, I think it's glampingtents.com. I'm not sure. Basically, is you're taking your amenities from your home and putting it inside this huge, large tent.
Okay.
So you can live in this tent. I'm talking about bedroom. I'm talking about kitchen, the whole 9 yards. You take your amenities out of your home, not the whole entire house, but some amenities out of home and put it inside this huge, large tent, and you make it a home. It's. I'm telling you, I've never seen it before in my life.
And is and Thomas, is it made out of that tent material or?
It's made out of a tent material. It's an actual tent, but it's huge. Every year in October in Denver, Colorado, they have a conference, just like the Tiny Fest. They have a glamping tent confess. You can go on Google and or YouTube's and find out what glamping is. It's crazy. It's a phase that's catching on very rapidly. And the funny part about it, not just discriminate and stereotype, but white people love it. White people love it.
You know what, Thomas? I actually went to a tiny home convention at least about 6 years ago. And man, that was amazing. Some of us were sleeping outside or whatever. I actually had a hotel and I was like driving back and forth, but it was really amazing. It was in Vermont. It was cold as I don't know what. But it was very, very interesting. But what I did not like, being a nurse, access to water was very minimal. And these people were using the bathroom. Hopefully, they were just doing number one, but there was no water nowhere to be found. And then they had the nerve to order some pizza, and everybody was running to get the pizza. I'm like, I don't want no parts of that pizza because there's no this, a little hand sanitizer. That's all we had out there. But the tiny home convention really turned me off from the tiny homes because you have to have a truck in order to move that around. But I guess now they're making cars where you can actually tow maybe a tiny home. But back in the day when I went, you needed like that F-150 truck in order to move the tiny home.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. You'll be amazed. Google, YouTube. There are several Black-owned communities in the South. Black-owned communities in the South for RV parks and tiny homes. You will be amazed. You don't understand what people are doing and how they are surviving. It's just like in 2019 when the story came out that 19 different Black people bought a ghost town in the state of Georgia. A lot of people don't know that these ghost towns are primed. A lot of people don't know that you can build up a ghost town and make it a serious community. But
Right.
nobody taps into those things. Everybody, I'm just saying, be creative on the things that you're doing. You know, just don't follow the as I would say the yellow brick road, if you will. Be creative. Create
Hmm.
something different that people would gravitate to. That's why I say the best two ways you can market yourself is radio and television and becoming on the bestseller. Now, a lot of people say, you know what, radio is expensive. Well, you have sports radio, you have talk radio, and you have Christian radio. They're the
Right.
most inexpensive parts to be on their what's name. You can do a 30-second window commercial about what it is that you do, and you pay for that slot, and they play your commercial for whatever length of time that you paid for, and people will get to know you. With my radio show, I have over 300 million people across this country that listens to it. I'm on the NBC affiliation, NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, Peacock, all that stuff. So you just be amazed of how much information's out there and the creative way that you can do business. And that's what you need to do to become bigger and better and larger at what you're doing. Just be creative. Find
Right.
different ways to be creative that your product will stand out versus everybody else's product.
Right. So Thomas, give us an idea how much an ADU is going to cost.
Well, the ones that we have, I think the cheapest one is between 45 and 65,000. The
Wow.
most expensive one we have is 160,000. Now,
Hmm.
they come one in one, which is one bedroom, one bathroom. You have uh two in one, and then you have two two in one with a loft. Then you have two in one with two lofts. You have a small porch, or you could have a huge porch. And then I believe we have a two. Not only are we doing them, but we also are doing single and double wide mobile homes. So we sell those too.
Okay. And even though that price point is a little high, because I'm from Texas, you're gonna get your money back fairly quick because these people are paying an arm and a leg for rent. Am I not
Exactly.
correct? Yeah. Yeah. So even though you might be spending 45, 75,000, whatever the case may be, you're gonna get your money back quick because I mean the cost to rent anything in California is ridiculous. It really
Well,
is.
the biggest thing is that uh, you know a lot of people would like, especially the baby bloomers, they would love to downsize because they don't need that big home anymore. But like I said, the biggest thing is that they can't sell the home because it's so old. They got a lot of equity into it, but the market won't allow them to sell and get the most
Mm.
bang for their buck. And then the other part, which is the major part, their grown children are coming home with their grown children. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So I got to keep that house. And so a lot of people would love to downsize, because even though the houses in California, the older houses were either two ones or two twos, and they were built huge, they don't need all that room anymore. And then you talk about being outdated because they were wall heaters instead of centralized heaters. These units, they come with solar because everything in California has to have solar on it. So it's whatever you want to be. So I mean, if you want to take a look at these units, you can go to backporchhomes.com, uh, and you can take a look at them. I don't know if I ever seen you the video of the community that we did in El Centro. If I haven't, I'll resend that to you. So
Please
that
do,
way, the
yeah.
next time you do your podcast, you can show your listeners or whatever. It's a nice setup. It's nice. You know what I'm saying? So these things are, like I said, they're everywhere. Everybody's building these communities, and the best part about them is that when you're ready to pack up and move, drive it off and go to the next spot you want to go to. You know,
Wow.
the wind velocity on travel, if you're going cross country, is great. They come with the hookups for your electrical. They come up with the hookups for your plumbing, and you have both for plumbing, either septic or sewer. So depending on where you at, you have to hook up for both septic as well as sewer with the hookups. I mean, it's whatever you want. It's a house on wheels, literally
Mhm.
a house on wheels.
Mhm. And so when we're talking about the utilities, especially with putting the ADU in somebody's backyard, is the utilities now going to be separate or is still going to be as one?
You could do it either or. You have that capability. If you want to make them separate, you can just do that, get a separate meter, and you can hook it up to that. As far as the water line, if it's on city sewer, you can have it connected, but you can have separate bills for that. Same thing as septic. The septic is that there's no bill for septic. You just pay for it to be maintenance or cleaned out, whichever one. So you don't have to worry about that part. But yeah, you can do it separate or you can hook them up together. It doesn't matter.
Hmm. And so, Thomas, would it be safe to say that this type of ADU is not going to fly within a HOA community?
We haven't gotten to that level yet, but I'm quite sure, it's going to go that way,
Hmm.
depending on, um, I say right now, depending on the status of the governor. And,
Hmm.
you know, let's say if he did get into office, whoever supersedes him and takes over that position, then they can do that. But they haven't gotten there yet because people are still figuring out how this is going to work. Everybody has trouble understanding how these things are going to work. They got an idea what it looks like, but they just don't understand how it works. And then when it comes to the paperwork, the local government is still, on the balancing scale of how this is going to work out. Because just like I say, if you take a dilapidated commercial building or a abandoned commercial building, tear it down and put units on there. And the reason why he did that because you already have the plumbing and electrical there, and then whatever fiber optics that you might need because of internet stuff, all that's there for you. So all you have to do is just basically get it rezoned, and then there you go. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
they made it very. It's made very easy here in California, but the only problem is that the local government's not on the same page as where the governor is. Every states right now have came across some property in Coachella, and they're not there yet. So I'm like, I had asked them about, what would you allow me to put on there besides single family residence? Because you can put some commercial there, and they wasn't sure about the ADU community or the commercial part because I was looking at putting EV stations on there, you know.
Mhm.
And the reason why I was looking at EV stations because the governor also put a mandate out by 2035 that everybody will be driving as well as selling electrical cars.
Right, right. So, Thomas, are these ADUs, are they, do they have a title? Or if fixated to the land, is it going to be a deed? How is that working?
It is still a part of the mobile home community. So yes, you would have to go to DMV and register that vehicle because it's on a trailer and you can
Hmm.
drive it away. So you still
Hmm.
would have to register it as a motor vehicle.
Okay. Okay. And so what is the big difference or, with ADU versus, small mobile home or a tiny home? I don't see where there's a big difference.
Well, the biggest difference is that you don't need a crane. So in other words, let's say for instance you live in a mobile home park, okay,
Hmm.
and you're not able to pay the space rent anymore. Okay,
Okay.
the mobile home park has a right to evict you.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And the point is, you don't have the money to get a crane to put it on a trailer, an 18 wheeler, and then have that puppy hauled to the next location. So
Hmm.
you let the park take it over. Where with the ADU, you know, if you leave it on a trailer, you just drive it off. But if you put it on a
Hmm.
permanent foundation, then all you have to do is get a crane, but it wouldn't cost as much
Gotcha.
to put it back on the trailer and then drive it off.
Gotcha. 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 Okay. All right. And so, and I believe you, Thomas, there is going to be a high demand for that because I already see these ADUs, like I said, in Oakland. I don't know. Have you been to Oakland? I already
No,
see them underneath the bridges. And I was like, wow, it was an amazing. They have like small cities underneath these bridges in Oakland. And next time I go to Oakland, I haven't been there a while. I will take a picture for you. But yeah, they're already underneath the bridges here in Oakland.
well,
Um,
you have to understand, every city's having issues in the economic environment with businesses. So you have a lot of people, and communities don't want to attract certain type of people to come into their community, if you will. So what can you do to keep the homeless out? So that's why they're talking about affordable housing and homeless or considered workforce housing because number one, the younger generation is no longer working. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
They're doing a lot of e-commerce business. So you got Lyft, Uber, you have stuff that people are putting on GoDaddy and Spotify. They doing their
mm,
own thing. So that's another thing with what's going on when you're talking about uh, affordable housing, and also when you're talking about what's the word I'm looking for? It'll come to me. Um, but the point is that, like I tell people, uh, the country is off balance, and
mm,
people don't understand it because this country was built on debt. So if the country's built on debt and no one's spending, then you're going to have an issue when it comes to why. Oh, inflation was the word I'm looking for. You know, and that's why you have an issue with inflation. There's no such thing as inflation, but the problem is because nobody's spending, the balance is offset. Nobody's spending, so therefore I got to raise prices to balance it out in order for everything to work out. If I don't balance it out, then guess what? Nobody's making any money. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And you're going to have more companies going, just like with the banks. You'll have more issues like that. So with the country being built on debt and understanding that debt is what's going to make this country survive, then you got to find the best way to keep it going. And
mhm,
understanding, people got to understand economics and finance. They got to understand how their money can work for them instead of them working for their money. You know what I'm saying? And
mm,
that's a big major problem because you wasn't taught that in school. You was not
okay,
taught that. So that's something that you have to learn, how to be able to balance the scales instead of going out and say, "Oh, I got some extra money. Let me go buy this dress I've been having my eye on." No, take your money and invest it, you know, and turn
mhm,
around and get a bigger piece of the pie. Not put it in a CD, a mutual fund, annuity. No, you're going to get 0.5%. If you ever watch the show Shark Tank, that's why that show was created. The show was created because these investors are saying we want to get more bang for our buck. So we knowing that we can't put it in the banking system because we're not going to make no money, and that's why we have most of our stuff in the Cayman Islands and stuff like that because we get a bigger interest rate. You know what I'm saying? So now you do that, and you bring your money over a little at a time because that's what you need to do. So when the world announced in 220 that Donald Trump only paid $750 in taxes, it wasn't a lie. It's the truth. He paid $750 in taxes because the thing of it is that the law is that you have 3 years to start a business, which means you have 3 years to screw up your business. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Without being
mhm,
penalized. The first year you can't really determine where you are. By the time the second year, you'll know by the time you get to the third year whether or not you're going to be in the black or the red. You know what I'm saying? So by filing BK, guess what? You pay nothing, you don't pay taxes on it, and you go on about your business. So inflation comes to the point where no one's actually spending and everything is out of whack. And then in order to make it work, it's wow, I got to print money that we don't have. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
now, how can we get out of this deficit that we're in based on the fact because we got to print this money that we don't have to balance out the scales because no one's actually spending, and that's the key component spending. We're not just talking about buying food and going out to dinner. We're talking about, investing into this country, you know, to where this country can thrive from. And that's just one of the biggest things. So understanding economics and finances, how you can make your money work for you versus you working for your money, is a big key. So when Robert Kiyosaki came out with the book, you know, yes, multiple income streams is one of the biggest ways. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if your primary job or you got a secondary job, instead of working that, now you take your money into invest it, to where instead of you getting 0.5% because you control that deal, you become the bank. Now you get 9, 10% on the return. So if somebody gave you 50, let's say 25,000 or 10,000, it's not 10% on the 10,000, it's 10% on the months that you leave it. So if you do 6 months at 10%, that's $600. So now you went from 10,000 to $10,600. 12 months, it'll be $11,200 and so forth and so on. So that's what you need to get to and understand. So what you're saying is that I will go ahead and find me a homeowner that's interested in doing an ADU and help them by investing into it, and then we split the proceeds.
Right, which is an excellent idea.
Right.
So Thomas, is your company ever going to get to the point where, like, if I'm an investor, I don't have time to find people who are interested in this idea. Will your company ever get to the point where you'll be finding the people and then say, "Hey, Kelly, we found them." Of course, there's going to be a fee from you guys. You think you'll ever get to that point?
Yes, of course. Because everybody's asking every day, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's talking about it every day. So here's a good way to solidify that, because by me having meetings and on the radio and things like that, I'm bringing awareness and attention to it. So quite naturally, they're going to reach out to me and ask, and then we can strike a deal.
Okay. And so, Thomas, what about people reaching out to you if they don't have, let's just say they want to invest in a smaller ADU, which you said roughly about 45,000. Are they gonna be able to finance that, or how's that gonna work?
Yes, they can finance it, go through the finance company. With me, what I'm at is that I'm not doing it individually. I'm looking at bulk. So if you getting 20, 30, 40, 50 units, then yeah, come to me. But if you're going to buy a unit at a time, do you go through Back Porch Home or / Virtue Build and go that route, because they're looking at just manufacturing, but they can get to a dealership that you can buy one.
Now, I tell you what, Thomas, I mean, excellent idea. Excellent. Amazing. Really amazing. Do you have any final words concerning, this ADU?
Like I said, just look into it and don't judge it, absorb it, break it down to a microscience to where you can understand how it can work for you. Don't worry about everybody else, how it's going to be able to fit in your life. You take that information, what don't apply, you throw it away. But you got to understand it. You got to devour it. Break it down to a microscience to where you can figure out, well, you know what? I can make this work for me if I structure it this way. Strategize, structure it to make it work. If it don't fit, then it's not for you. But if it fits, then go for it. That's about it.
Okay. All right, guys, there we have it. Mr. Thomas L. Chappell, F. Chappell Jr. He went from single family home to mobile homes, now to ADUs. So you know what, Thomas, I'm gonna be looking for your email, because I am very interested, because I really believe, especially here in the state of Texas, I mean California, you're gonna get your money back so quick. Even though you're gonna be spending 45, maybe a little bit more, you're gonna get that money back quick, because the cost of living here is crazy.
It
It's
is.
crazy.
You don't mind if I give out my information real quick, do you?
No, please
Okay.
do. And if you have a website or whatever, yeah, please share it with us.
Okay. My phone number is area code 404-844-1828. Once again, that's 404-844-1828. Yes, this is a Georgia number, but I live in California. I used to live in Georgia. My email address is my first name, last name, 33@yahoo.com. So it's THOMAS, C like Charles, H like Harry, A like Apple, P like Paul, E like Edward, L like Larry, 33@yahoo.com. Last name is same as Dave Chappelle, but he has an E at the end of his name, and I don't. And my website for my real estate investment club is Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, or BIEREIC.com. And as far as the radio show, just go to Real Men of Real Estate, YouTube, Roku, all the other places, hosted by me, Thomas F. Chappell Jr. You can listen to all my previous shows. And the last thing is my Facebook. So if you want to look at all the cast of characters spoke at my real estate club, just go to my Facebook page, Thomas F. Chappelle Jr., and look at all the cast of characters that's been on my investment club.
All right, then. All right, guys, there you have it. Mr. Chappelle, thank you so much, Thomas, for stopping by. We greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate the time. Thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.